game, it's actually going to get you somewhere. And here's what I mean. Don't always go for the super fucking large game. Don't do it. Don't do it. The new games are always going to be fucking hype as shit. They're going to be fucking massive. Everybody and their mama, all the fucking variety streamers are going to jump over there, and they're going to immediately jump on it. Now, granted, you guys, I don't always follow my own advice. I was just recently playing The Division. Did I get any stream traffic from it? No. Fuck no. We got like a fraction of what we normally get. And it sucks. It sucks. Because you really want to play those games. You absolutely want to play those fucking games where it's like, dude, that game's so fucking hype and I want to get in there and I want to play it and I want to stream it. But to be honest with you, if you're doing this as a job, if you're doing Twitch as a job and not just a hobby, not just, you know, not just, I just want to stream this game. If you're doing Twitch as a means to an end, as a means to make money, as a means to, you know, make this like a career, build a community, that sort of thing, follow the advice here. If you're doing this just as a hobby, ignore everything I'm about to say. Yes, Gamer, the VOD will be available. Sorry, I tried not to respond to chat, but it's really hard for me. It's like ingrained in me. So, like I said, don't always pick the biggest fucking game. To be honest with you, this is the hardest fucking section. This is the hardest part of streaming right here. This is the absolute hardest part of streaming is picking the right game. Because here's the deal. Picking the right game is literally the hardest part I have every single day as well. It's one of those things where like literally you can ask my mods every time before stream that like, what do we do? Like I'm sitting here deciding one of two things. I'm deciding what fucking game we're playing, and what our stream title is. And to be honest with you, picking the game is the hardest fucking thing. And this is also what I see a lot of other people struggling with, because to be honest with you, they're not picking the games that's good for you. They're just not picking those games that are good for them. Sometimes a game is great for you, but not for other people. Sometimes games are just way too big. It really all depends on your size. It depends on how big, you know, like how big the game is at the time, how well you fit within it. Because if you go back to that pole position, if you're way far down on that list, it doesn't matter. The other thing is like, you know, if you guys come to my stream, and everybody who normally comes to my stream, you know you guys are getting a hyped up stream. But that also really depends on the game as well. Because you know when you come to the stream, you're not getting a slow ass fucking game. I'm not gonna be playing fucking, you know, Drag Queen Dating Simulator. I'm gonna be playing like a first-person shooter or Warframe or Dark Souls or something that has a lot of action in it. Something that really feels like, hey, the pace is going fucking fast and awesome, and it matches the hype that we have here. Now, there's plenty of other streams. I don't know if you guys know Simcopter. Simcopter1 is an amazing, fantastic streamer, but literally on the opposite spectrum of me. Simcopter is a very chill streamer. He sits back, he relaxes, he basically like, he could play games like, he plays games like Hearthstone, he can play games like Darkest Dungeon, that sort of thing, and it fits his fucking stream. And with you guys, like anybody else who's out there who's looking to become a larger streamer, you gotta pick the games that really suit you and suit what your community is looking for. I mean, yes, there's certain games I do want to play. There's certain games I want to play, but my community isn't looking for that. They're used to a certain number of games. They're used to me being fucking hype as shit. They're used to certain games. And then the other thing is exactly what we're talking about. We can't pick games that are way too big for us. The newest brand new game, the biggest games that are coming out right now, I don't typically jump into. I have been recently just to see how they do, and it's exactly what we knew was going to happen. Barely anybody comes by. We get no stream traffic. No stream traffic. So that's the biggest thing, is shiny does not always equals precious. You don't want to be sitting there going, oh, this game is so good, I just need to play it. Fuck off. Wait for it. To be honest with you, I saw a lot of this when The Witcher came out. If you guys are big fans of The Witcher, basically, here's one of the things that you may have noticed. It blew the fuck up on Twitch. The Witcher was massive on Twitch, and it's because everybody and their mama jumped on it as soon as it came out. But here's the deal, if you guys literally just waited, if you just waited like maybe a week, maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks, same with Fallout 4 or any of these other games, if you guys waited just a bit, it would be in a much better position for you. Yes, there's going to be less stream traffic in general towards the game, but you're going to be in a much, much higher position on that game. And that's one of the things a lot of people who are just starting out, who have lower viewership, they jump immediately onto the biggest, shiniest game they can. And you can't do that. You really can't. However, I will preface this, sometimes you get fucking lucky. Sometimes Twitch is all about getting lucky. If you maybe jump on that super hype game, if you maybe get in there and all of a sudden like, boom, somebody hosts you, somebody gives you a massive raid, all of a sudden you have like fucking, 500 viewers in there and you're up in the top and you're like, holy shit, what's happening? And all these people are coming by following because you're getting stream traffic. It's pretty fucking awesome. However, it doesn't happen often. I've seen it happen maybe 3 times. And when it does happen, it's pretty amazing, but it doesn't last. It doesn't last. And it's one of those things where, yeah, thanks mods. Want to get some cookies? 1 kill? Yeah, man. But sometimes you do get lucky. So, and that's one of the things, is sometimes you have to weigh like, hey, I can maybe play this game and get lucky, or we can go with what's guaranteed to work. And to be honest with you, play what's guaranteed to work. You can try that maybe once in a while, maybe try out a new game, maybe try to get into those big hype games, maybe have those somehow manage to get you lucky. But for the most part, stick with what you know is going to get you progress. Even though you may want to play that game so badly, here's the deal. There's a lot of times where I'm trying to pick the game that I want to play, and there's a lot of times where I'm like, I really want to play this game, but I know it's not good for Twitch. I know it's not good for me. It's not good for my stream. It's not good for whatever. And so what I do is I'm looking at the games and I'm like, well, what else do I want to play? Like, maybe it's not the #1 game I want to play right at that moment, but maybe it's not the #1 game I want to play right at that moment, but maybe it's the second place game I want to play. Maybe it's the game I want to play second most, but it works for the stream. So this is why oftentimes I'll pick Warframe or Dark Souls. Not because, they're safe or anything like that, because I do genuinely want to play them, but at the same time, I genuinely want to play them, but at the same time, I know they're good for the stream. So maybe it's not the Division. Maybe, I really want to play the Division right now, but I know that Dark Souls or Warframe are going to get me progress. And that's kind of what you got to look for, is kind of like maybe not go with the most hyped up game, the most shiny game, but seriously, like, look at it as from a perspective of, this is actually it's gonna be fun for me. I'm gonna enjoy it. That's really, 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 really key. It's gonna be fun and I enjoy it, but it's maybe not the #1 game I want to play. Here's the other thing, is when picking games, there's a collection of games. And I mentioned them earlier, but there's a collection of games that are isolated games or alienated games. Is what I kind of call them. Some people call them other things. I don't know. But we're going to talk about these games for a second because a lot of people love them. And here's the key, is a lot of people hate them. And I'm pretty sure you guys can already, like, immediately you guys probably thought of a few. You guys probably thought of a few games that people love, and then there's an equal number of people that, or more, that absolutely hate those games. Hate them. And here's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you guys examples. League of Legends is probably massive in many people's minds. There's a lot of people here who love it. There's a lot of people here who hate it. There's games like Dota 2, which is literally on the other end of the table. You have CSGO, you have Minecraft, you have a bunch of games that literally people just absolutely hate. They just absolutely hate those games. And one of the big things that you want to look for is, if you're trying to pick your game, don't pick these games. Like, honestly, like, even if you really, really want to play them, if you want to be a variety streamer, don't pick these games. That's the big thing. Now, if you don't want to be a variety streamer, if that is the only game that you want to play for the rest of your Twitch career, fucking do it. Fucking do it. If that's the only game. Because, to be honest with you, they have really strong communities. They have absolutely massively strong communities. They have massive amounts of people that come by those streams. I'm sure you guys noticed Dota 2, League of Legends, CSGO, all of them are always in the top. All of them are way up there in the top. They're absolutely always there. One second, I need to check a thing because I want to talk more about this. But they're always way at the top. They're always, you know, severely like, you know, oversaturated with viewers, which is amazing because you guys can absolutely get, you know, a huge community going. And the people who do watch those games will literally be coming back all the time to there. And I'm gonna pause here because you guys are probably gonna have a ton of questions. We're just gonna stop right here for just a moment. Because you guys are probably gonna have a bunch of questions on what game is this game considered alienating? And I see some of them already coming up, like Little Blake. Would TF2 be considered alienating? No. I would absolutely not consider TF2 alienating. I mean, honestly, Little Blake, do you know anybody who actually hates TF2? Do you know anyone who actually hates, you know, Team Fortress 2? I don't know of anyone who really hates Team Fortress 2. But there's other games like Binding of Isaac. I know a ton of people hate it. Amish Moose, thank you for the reset, bud. I'll thank you more in a bit. Destiny is one of those games. Destiny is one of those games that people hate. Call of Duty is absolutely, Call of Duty is absolutely one of those games that people absolutely despise. I'm just looking at some of the games right now that are top in Twitch right now. StarCraft 2 would be one of those games that not quite alienating, but still up there in the sense that if you switch that game, a lot of people are going to leave. It's one of those things. So, when the Souls games be somewhat alienating, Master of Jack, surprisingly not. Surprisingly not. A lot of variety streamers end up streaming the Souls games, and people love it. People fucking love it. And yeah, there's a few people who do hate Team Fortress 2, of course. But the big key here is not so much, is there an exception to the rule? Of course, there's always people who hate a particular game. There's always people who hate, you know, that sort of thing. But the really key here is trying to define what an alienating game or isolated game is pretty much looking at it and going, is this community very isolated? Do they not go anywhere else? Do they only watch that fucking game? For the most part, the Dark Souls community, yes, very much so isolated. But there's a lot of them as well who will go elsewhere. However, alienating, no. If you switch to Dark Souls, your loyal viewers are not going to be like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, there's kind of the difference between isolated and alienating. Basically, isolated is where the general community for that game doesn't really go elsewhere, whereas alienating is where if you switch that game, people are just gonna fucking leave. Warframe is very much, I wouldn't say Warframe is super isolated, but Warframe is actually pretty isolated in the sense that I'd probably say maybe like 20% of the viewers that you get from Warframe don't like to watch other games. I mean, sorry, 20% of the other viewers that you get from Warframe actually will watch other games. 80% of the follows I got from Warframe are literally like, they only want to watch Warframe. That's it. That is it. And yes, there's a Dark Souls community. That's pretty much the people who only watch Dark Souls. Path of Exile, excellent example of an alienating game, an isolated game. That is both isolated and alienating. Nerd Rage, because there's a huge community of Path of Exile on Twitch. And they don't go anywhere else. They don't do anything else. They only watch Path of Exile. They only play Path of Exile. They don't watch any other streams. You maybe get a percentage of those follows that will follow you to other streams, but they won't go anywhere else. So you kind of have to look at a game objectively and go, is this a game that like a lot of people will watch and then follow me to another game? Like, as a variety streamer, you have to be aware of certain games. They're not going to go anywhere else. Now, however, on the flip side of that, take a game like Rocket League. Rocket League does have a pretty strong community. Some of the people there only play Rocket League. But for the most part, a lot of the people that watch or tune into a Rocket League stream will go elsewhere. They'll follow you anywhere. They're like, I just love games in general. And Rocket League is a cool game. How you can just watch one game all the time. I don't know either. I don't know. But is this a PowerPoint? Yes, Koki, it is. So, it's pretty much, like I said, You really have to be aware of those. The good news is that they're typically well established. So if you're looking at one of these alienating games, they usually have a huge community. You can jump into them. Like I said, not great for variety streamers. Be aware, you are kind of screwing yourself over if you're a variety streamer. However, like I said, if you are 100% into a game like that, do it. Especially if it's not too large for you. Like Path of Exile in general, if like Path of Exile in general is great for brand new streamers, if that's all you ever want to stream, because no one's going to follow you elsewhere. But it's still, like I said, it's not too large for most new streamers, but it's still there. All right, let's talk.